Saturday's notable fixtures starting at the top, and the big surprise was the early game in London where a struggling West Ham with David Moyse now in charge and looking a little bit more organised, particularly off the way they played at Manchester City the week before. But how many people thought Chelsea were going to go there and lose? Chelsea having to keep a run going or put a run going to at least make some sort of title challenge. It's gone. They lost. West Ham defended well. And for Chelsea, they'll have to look to other things to win this season because it won't be the Premier League. Well, for Sean Dyche and Burnley, the good streak just keeps going. A good win for them, a narrow win for them, unsurprisingly. And the cap is slipping for Watford. Crystal Palace, don't watch the late Benteke penalty that should have won it for them because it was abysmal. And he won't be taking a penalty again soon. So they gave up that chance. Huddersfield, that's a huge win because they were heading south and heading south quickly. So a big 3 points for them. Surprise, West Brom lost at Swansea because Swansea have been poor. They were sat bottom before this game. All the talk was Paul Clement getting the sack. That staves that off for a little bit. And Tottenham, well, it was a rout against Stoke City. Son involved in 4 of the goals. Harry Kane with a couple. And Stoke City and Mark Hughes had no answer.
Burley's here with me. He's a perfect person to talk some Chelsea matters with, whether he likes to or not. Craig, we're talking about Frank Lampard's comments on Timoe Bakayoko. He says that he falls asleep during games, basically because one of his sleepy moments led to one of the goals that Atletico Madrid scored, or the goal that Atletico Madrid scored in the Champions League. He says he doesn't know what to make of this player yet, and he thinks that Drinkwater could come in and take his spot. What do you think?
Drinkwater has taken his spot
permanently, you think
recently,
so?
and at least one league game I can remember, maybe more. I don't know. But let's be frank here. Bakayoko is a better player than Danny Drinkwater, right? Potentially, or is, and can be, and should be, right? As much as Danny Drinkwater did great at Leicester City, he come in, he's tidy, he's aggressive, but he's not. You know, he can't get around the pitch like Bakayoko.
So what's Lampard saying?
Hasn't got that strength. Well, Lampard's saying the same thing that Conte's saying, and he's saying the same thing that Didier Deschamps is saying, because he was left out of the French squad recently, and he had a right moan up about it. Steven Nzonzi was in from Sevilla and 1 or 2 other players, and he says, I should be in this team, I should be. That's fine, there's a World Cup year coming up, but he really has to get himself together at Chelsea, right? And he hasn't played to the standard that he was in that very good Monaco team that got him the move to Chelsea. That's fact. There's a hell of a lot more to come from him. There's probably not many stronger that getting box to box around the field. But the attitude's got to be right. He's got to be better in the final third. And it all comes down to the mental side of the game for me. And
so who steps in then? The manager to sort of bring down that ego and say, hey, you're on equal terms with the rest of them?
I don't know what the issue is short term, and I think it is only short term. Because I don't know the player. He's in London now. It's the big lights, it's the bright lights, it's the lifestyle, it's the pressure. Not Monaco with a paltry crowd, never a full stadium. It's Stamford Bridge. It's a full house. It's Liverpool and it's Man City and it's Arsenal and United all coming there, and it's pressure. It's not. You're not away to some horrendous League One side at the bottom of the league and nobody's bothered. Even when you go away from home, you're under pressure. So you've got to live with that. And Frank Lampard knows all about it. To be fair to Frank, when he came in from West Ham, he wasn't exactly a signing that got Chelsea fans jumping out of their chairs. Well, why are we signing Lampard? What's he going to do for us? And he proved them wrong. So that's up to Bakayoko now. Is he good enough to do it and got all the facets to do it? Absolutely. Is he doing it at the moment? No. And that's why he wasn't in the French squad.
All right, thanks so much to Craig Burley. So top player, that is indeed what Bakayoko is. He's just got to put his head down and get to work. A good day to be Manchester City, whether on and off the pitch. City have announced record revenues of almost £480 million, Shaka. So they're clearly dominating, not just on the pitch, but off of it. Is this, though, good or bad for the game and for the Premier League and for everybody else?
If what's good or bad for the game?
I mean, I know City won't care, but I mean, just this kind of money, and we already know the spending power that City have.
Hold on. A Manchester United fan is sitting here asking me if this kind of financial dominance is good for the game?
I would like to know, Shaka, because we don't want it to just become a 2-horse race now.
Oh, there's another horse in the race.
Overall, Shaka, how do you see this affecting everything else and the game and financial fair play?
On the one hand, in all honesty, and I'll take that up with you a little bit later on, it's good for the game in that City have shown that they can spend big, and when you spend big, revenues follow as a result, because they flirted with financial fair play, and in all honesty, without going into detail on their numbers, I'll wait for UEFA to pass their own judgment, because they have a formula to follow in terms of what can bring in, what revenues are reasonable for what expenses, etc., etc. So we leave that to them. So we'll assume that everything is above board and meets that standard. To show that you can spend the money that City have, and the result is revenues follow, profits follow, because Manchester City announced a profit, £1 million, but that's a profit, and that's all they needed at this point. And maybe sets an example for other clubs to follow. You know, again, so to say that it's not good for the league, no, I disagree. It's not good for the title race this season. It may not be good for the title race next season. But in terms of the continued growth of the Premier League as a brand, in terms of setting an example for other clubs to follow, for investors to kind of put their money where their mouth is, with not just the top clubs in the Premier League, but maybe even some of the other clubs who are in desperate need of investment, I think absolutely it is good.
But how will they keep up?
Well, that's for them to answer.
I know that, but then how does that really grow the Premier League then? If it's just a one-horse race, just blazing forward now, and everyone else is just trying to catch up financially and on the pitch, Shaka.
Well, we've had this situation with one club in particular.
We have had this situation indeed.
For quite some time.
No, but the way City are going, I mean, the sky's the limit for them.
Hold on. Manchester United floated on the stock market to great effect. No, I'm just saying to great effect in what, 92 was it? And that put them miles ahead of everybody else in the league. And what it did was it forced everybody else to play catch up. Now, some, like Newcastle, when I was playing with them, thought that floating on the stock market was their answer to that. That was a disastrous failure. So you had to be a little bit more creative. You had to think of other ways to grow your revenues, other ways to continue to compete. And that allowed clubs like Chelsea, that allowed Arsenal, that allowed those other clubs to do things and play catch up with Manchester United. Maybe they didn't catch all the way up, but at least from time to time, we had title races and we had the improvement of the league that has come from where it was in 1992 to where it is now. So don't stop asking me about clubs being head and shoulders above everybody else, because we've been here, seen that, done it. This is not our first rodeo, Alexis.
It's just because the shoe's on the other foot that I'm a bit bitter. Anyways, thanks for Shaka's insight as always. And like I said, boy, is it a good day to be at Manchester City.
To talk about the title race after a defeat, I think that is a bit strange, especially if this is the fourth defeat in this season in 16 games. When you have these stats, and it's impossible to think that you are in the title race. It's impossible. My experience tell this, that if you want to stay in the race for the title, and above all in the first part of the season, you can lose one, twice.
I'm sorry for this situation, and I hope that his feeling is good. But usually when you have this type of situation, the accent is not good. But I think and I hope that he stay well. It was a day off, no? It was a day off, but I prefer to talk about my players and not about other players of the other club. I think I repeat that is a lack of respect to judge or to give some evaluations.
Any doubt about the team? I was confident. I am confident. I trust on the team in our job, and only was like I told you I think yesterday. Some not so good moments in every team happen, and I think after Apoel and today, only we need to see the future and be optimists and try to keep this level for the next games. I saw him in Madrid when we play there, and yes, always he keep contact with all the people here that work on the pass. But you know, what I can say about that is, I don't know, because I don't have a close relationship with him or with the people around him.
You would like to see him here maybe? He's a good player.
Of course, he's a fantastic player. And then you never know in football what can happen. No?
Second half, obviously conceding two very easy goals from Spurs' point of view and poor goals from our point of view. At 3-0, then the game clearly had gone away from us, and guys needed just to clear their heads and take their medicine and keep their shape, keep what we talk about every single day in terms of defending correctly, and like I said, take our medicine and get out of here and prepare for the game on Tuesday. But as it was, we got a little bit strung out, a little bit ragged, and good teams like Spurs can pick you off, and that's what happened in the latter stages. So in terms of a complete performance, clearly it wasn't one. That's illustrated by the margin of defeat for us. But if we can take any encouragement, it's probably from the first half. But second half was clearly not acceptable from our point of view.
Before we speak about the situation, the red card, and for me it's clear is a harsh decision the referee. I saw the image a lot of times until now, and don't look really red card for me. But before we knew before the match what type of game normal. Burnley is strong. They are strong here with this football direct, with strong in the first and the second ball. We prepared well the game. I think we started very well. We started very well the game with quality, with a good attitude. Like we need to equalize the attitude normal Burnley put in during the match. We started well. First 20 minutes, big chance in one corner with Troy, and after the biggest chance until that moment with Richarlison, we had in the first 20 minutes. Of course, Burnley react like is normal. They balance more the game until the red card. The game is really balanced in that moment. Two good moments, the Gomez as well. And after come the decision for me, had a big influence in all the match after. Big influence, harsh decision. I think it's not fair in that moment. And of course, after 2 minutes or 3 minutes, they scored the 1-0. Even with 10 players, like we play the second half, like we react, like we create some chance to finalize as well and to score the 1-1. I didn't see one minute in the second half with Burnley, with the game under control. We keep always the score open, the result open as well. Our boys, they work really hard, fantastic again, our attitude as a team. We believe until the end. Okay, we had some chance, of course. Burnley as well, because we play in more risk with 10 players in the second half. But every moment we had the ball, we prepared our attack. We could finalize the moments. We had chance to score the 1-1. I think it's not fair.
Well, actually, credit to them, because we didn't start well for the first 15 or 20, and then we started to grow into the game, and the feeling in the stadium started to change when the players started getting back on the front foot, if you like. And then the sending off, makes it different. But no, a thorough performance, I thought. Again, I'm very, very, very pleased with the performance overall. Yeah, I think the pleasing thing, professionally, we know all the work that's still to be done. But from a fan point of view, I think it's fantastic for them, to be looking at that league table and seeing their team go, doing what they're doing. And I think, I think there's a lot of respect for what the team do here. And, the only thing I always guarantee, or try and guarantee, is the team are going to give everything. And I thought you saw that again today. Backs to the wall defending, not that many times, but when we had to. And some real quality on show when we needed it. We've got to try and move on season. That's been the big thing, my thinking is are we moving forward? And That's the first point, actually, to try and move forward. Now, I think we are what you see and the way the team are delivering. But of course, at the end of the season, only people really bother with the league table.